Howdy folks, and welcome to the Hillbilly Kitchen. Today we're going to be making 3 simple healthy treats for summer that are also delicious. Now there are a million recipes out there that are 2 ingredient, high protein, healthy, and the problem with them is that most of them are so bland you're never going to eat them. And if you make them, you ain't gonna make them twice. I have tried dozens and dozens and dozens of these 2 ingredient recipes, and most of them are just bleh. If I want a special treat, I want it to have flavor, and I want a little bit of sweetness to it. And most of them don't have either one of those 2. You can eat healthy, and you can have both of those 2 things. So we're gonna start by talking about some ingredients first. Now the ingredient that all the 2 ingredient recipes have in them is either plain Greek yogurt or cottage cheese. Those are both very high protein and they are both good for you. So especially the Greek yogurt, it has a lot of probiotics in it, which is good for gut health. Now to sweeten, you can use plain granulated sugar, which has about 16 calories per teaspoon. And that's not bad. And plain granulated sugar is not as bad for you as the stuff in processed food. Most processed food, like shakes, sports drinks, things like that, coffee drinks especially that you buy already made in the store, most of them have high fructose corn syrup in them, corn syrup, and other sweeteners that just are way beyond regular table sugar. So you can use regular table sugar. If you're looking for healthier alternatives, honey is my favorite sweetener. It has a lot of stuff in it that's good for you that you don't necessarily get anywhere else. And it is sweet and it adds its own special flavor. You can also use maple syrup, which adds again the sweetness and it adds flavor, not just the sweetness. With sugar, all you get is the sweetness. That's why I like these 2 a little bit better. If you want the sweetness, but you can't have the calories and the carbs at all, you know, if you can't do carbs, and there are a lot of health conditions where you can't do carbs, then consider something that is maybe made out of monk fruit or one of the more natural no-calorie sweeteners or low-calorie sweeteners, the no-carb sweeteners. One of the things that I recommend you buy that will save you some money is a discount bag of bananas. At our local Ingles store, you can get this big old bag of bananas for $2. They have them almost every day. And I froze some this morning. But this $2 bag of bananas had all those bananas plus these in it. And I think I got 5 in here that are frozen. I don't even know how many bananas that is. Peel them and freeze them, and you can take them out and use them as you need them in smoothies and desserts and stuff like that, even baking. And they will last for months in a freezer bag in your freezer. Do some frozen fruit, some fresh fruit. Like I said, flavor and sweetness. That's what I'm looking for. Some dark chocolate or cocoa powder. Definitely vanilla extract. Another way you can add protein is powdered milk. And I know that's something that sometimes comes from food pantries. And if you can't get these 2, powdered milk will add protein into your treats. Peanut butter, nuts. There's any kind of nuts add protein. Cinnamon is a good way to add flavor and a little sweetness. Anyways, we're going to get on with some healthy snacks. Like I said, it's all about flavor when you're snacking. It really truly is. And if you can add in the protein for people my age, if you're doing kids, you know, sometimes just the fruit and that's enough. But freezing bananas, you can do a lot with frozen bananas. You can make all kinds of smoothies with them. And we're going to do a basic banana smoothie that I used to do for my kids, and I didn't even use frozen bananas. I would use a fresh banana and ice and blend it. And we're going to do that. But one of the things that I love, and I have done these before, is chocolate dipped bananas. And they are just delicious. I love them. If y'all have made them, kind of let me know what you like to add to them. And I thought before I started this, I've never tried it, but maybe melt peanut butter, dip the frozen banana in peanut butter, put it back in the freezer for a minute, and then dip it in the chocolate. I didn't do that, and if you try that, let me know. But what we're going to do is I have some dark chocolate. Dark chocolate is better. You can use milk chocolate, and you can even make it from scratch if you want to, but I have some dark chocolate chips, and I'm just going to add a little bit of coconut oil to it and melt that, and then I'm going to dip my frozen banana in it and put it back in the freezer and refreeze it. And this is one of my favorite summertime snacks. It actually comes out very creamy, and it's like a popsicle. And they sell these. Dole makes them. I don't know if anybody else does, but they are quite expensive. And with $2 for this giant pile of bananas, you can certainly make them cheaper than that. And because these are dark chocolate chips, I actually got them on sale. And right now chocolate chips are like $5 a bag, but I got these for $2. So look for the sales. Anyways, what we're going to do to make our chocolate bananas is we're just going to take a frozen banana, one that we've had in the freezer for a little while, cut it in half, and use some kind of a stick. You could even use a toothpick. These are not very big bananas. And dip it in our chocolate and our coconut oil mixture. Oh gosh, it fell. This is why I love making videos, because if it can go wrong, it will. All right, once you dip it, let it drip just a little bit. And if you have some wax paper, before it drips everywhere, or parchment paper, sit it out, and then put them on a cookie sheet and put them back in the refrigerator. Before you freeze your bananas, by the way, after you peel them, cut any spots off of them. If they have bruises or bad spots, cut those off before you put them in the freezer. I mean, like this one had a little spot on it. And my bananas are already thawing out. Something else you can do other than just the banana popsicles, which like I said are very expensive if you buy them in the store, is you can cut them in little bite-sized pieces and dip them in the chocolate. And something you can do while they're laying here wet is you can put, instead of dipping them in the peanut butter, and I have done this, you can chop up some peanuts, some salted peanuts, and add to that. And that adds a little protein. It also adds flavor. But you can cut your bananas in pieces like this, and you can do chocolate covered banana bites. I actually made a video on these a couple of years ago, and I did some for kids and put some sprinkles on them. So, you know, you can add fun stuff for the kids too. But in all honesty, they're good like they are. And if your kids will eat them without sprinkles that have food coloring in them, give them to them without the food coloring. My kids liked these when they were growing up. And like I said, they are probably one of my favorite summertime snacks. Just frozen bananas dipped in chocolate. And you can store these in the freezer once they have been dipped for, I don't know, maybe a month anyway before they start to get icky. But the bites are really good and the popsicles are good. And those popsicles, the banana popsicles, actually eat like a popsicle. So give those a try. If you haven't, they are delicious. And it's far, far cheaper to make them at home. And you really, if you want to make them for like the kids and you've got the frozen bananas in the fridge, like this is hard and you can serve it just like that. You don't even have to put it back in the freezer if you're going to serve them immediately. But if you want to make 5 or 6 of them and put them in the freezer, because obviously keeping chocolate melted for days isn't going to work, you can do that. You can make you 5 or 6 up, or make a bunch, you know, cut up 3 or 4 bananas and dip the bites and put them in the freezer. And actually these bites, if you did put some peanuts on them, they would be pretty good for bedtime, because you get a little protein and you get a few carbs, and they would kind of keep your blood sugar balanced through the night, which is something that I have learned I need to work on. So anyways, this video is sponsored by Nourish. And I had my first experience with Nourish about a week ago. You go online, you make your appointment with a registered dietitian. Now, having a dietitian help you with your diet, if you have any kind of health concern at all, is as important, I feel, as having a physician, because a great many of our health problems can totally be taken care of by changing our diet. And I'm not suggesting people can stop taking their medication and stop going to their doctor. I'm saying add a nutritionist to your health plan. And it doesn't matter if you have an autoimmune condition, if you have diabetes, if you have a weight problem or an eating disorder, if you're just aging and you need help with some of those concerns. Like me, I'm postmenopausal, which means I don't sleep at night, I'm losing muscle like crazy, the hot sweats or hot flashes and night sweats, all that stuff. And my dietitian actually sent me, after our first meeting, I had a Zoom meeting with him. It took like an hour, I think, and she gave me a lot of tips. She talked about things that I did not think about. You can use their app to record everything you eat on the app, and then your nutritionist can look at it and make recommendations. She made some supplemental recommendations, which some of them I knew about and some of them I didn't. And I have another appointment scheduled and some labs scheduled where they are actually going to look at my hormone levels, look at my A1C, look at my cholesterol levels and things like that, and adjust, maybe give some more recommendations for things I can do to improve that and improve the rate at which I am aging. And one of the things she recommended is more high protein snacks. So I highly recommend that you check them out if you are suffering from any kind of health issues, because food is where better health starts. If you have insurance, your visit will be covered by your insurance in most cases. So check out the link up here, and you can just click on that link and you can go to Nourish and you can schedule an appointment with your own registered dietitian and get recommendations for improving your health and your life, sleeping better, losing weight, whatever it is you need, whatever medical condition that you need help with. But overall, I found it to be very helpful, very positive, and the information that I received was sound. So thank you, Nourish, for sponsoring this video. We're going to do that basic banana milkshake that my kids loved, and we're going to talk about some stuff that you can add to it. So what I would do is get some ice. And you can do this in any blender. You can do it with a blender, a smoothie maker, or like one of the NutriBullet things that does the drinks, any kind of drink maker you can use. My favorite thing though is an immersion blender and a mason jar, because it's easy to clean this, and I can put this in the dishwasher. So get you some mason jars and an immersion blender if you're going to buy something. That's my recommendation. I would use about half a cup of crushed ice. If it's big ice cubes, you might want a whole cup per banana. A banana this size, these are kind of small, one per kid. If you're making, a meal, you might want two if you're doing it for yourself. But one banana for just a treat. I'm making enough here for two. And now I said flavor. If you see this recipe on the internet, it's probably just going to be bananas and ice and milk, or bananas and ice and yogurt, or bananas and ice and something. Add some vanilla to it. I always did when my kids were little. I always put the vanilla in it. And you can add a lot of stuff to this. And that much you would want close to half a teaspoon of vanilla. You can put your plain Greek yogurt in this. You can just use milk, which is what I always did when my kids were little. You can use powdered milk and water in it. Just whatever. I'm just going to use regular milk because that's what I used. If you do want more protein in it though, you can add some powdered milk to it, and that will boost the protein in it. And what we want to do is just about enough milk to cover the ice, not to cover the bananas. You can adjust this to taste. If you want it sweeter, you can certainly add some honey, some maple syrup, some sugar, some low-calorie sweetener to it. Because like the monk fruit and stuff, that's not an artificial sweetener. It is a low-calorie, low-carb sweetener. And that makes a very creamy, very cool treat. And there is, I mean, it's just milk, banana, and ice. That's it. I mean, it's pretty thick, but it's not too thick to drink with a straw. And my kids loved that. They called them banana milkshakes. It's delicious. Doesn't need any sweetener. But if you want it, like I said, take your pick. If your kids won't drink it plain, add a little bit of sweetener to it because it's mostly good stuff. And if you want more protein, you know, you have a lot of choices here you can add to it. And you could even add a tablespoon of peanut butter in there if you wanted to for a little protein. And the other recipe we've got is a very simple high protein chocolate mousse, which is more of a dessert than most of this stuff. And we're going to use a cup of our cottage cheese. You can add in any other frozen fruit to this milkshake too. Like if you wanted to put blueberries in it or you wanted to put strawberries in it. But make sure you have fruit for your summer desserts. Something else about the mason jars is they have measurements on the side of them. So I don't have to measure this in a measuring cup. Okay, I got a cup there. And we're going to blend this until it's creamy. We're going to add a little bit of sweetness to this because it is a mousse. Maybe 1 to 2 tablespoons of honey in this. And I'm not going to really measure it with a spoon because there'd be more stuck in the spoon. And I know you can do the oil and stuff like that in your measuring spoon and it comes out easier, but that's about enough. That's about 1.5 tablespoons maybe. And we're going to add some cocoa, a couple teaspoons of cocoa. Again, you're going to adjust this cocoa to suit your taste. If you want it more chocolatey, add more cocoa. If you want it less chocolatey, add less cocoa. And by the way, a teaspoon like this is not necessarily a teaspoon. If you want it exact, measure it. But somewhere between 1 and 2 teaspoons is what you want in this. And again, we want flavor. And one of the things that adds flavor is vanilla. And I use pure vanilla extract always. I have a whole bunch of homemade vanilla that I've got to start using. And it is well aged now. We did a video, a live stream on how to make that last summer. And if you want to give that out for Christmas presents, it's almost time to make that again. And we might do another video on that because homemade vanilla is much cheaper than buying it and it's delicious. About a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla or a little more. You can add a pinch of salt to this, but with the cottage cheese, I think it kind of already has some salt in it. And a lot of smoothies and desserts, and we've done milkshakes and stuff, adding just a pinch of salt to them really, really improves the flavor. But with the cottage cheese, you don't really need it. If you use the yogurt, you might want to add a pinch of salt. And you could use yogurt in this if you wanted to. Something else you can do because, and this is totally optional, if you want a little kick, get out the instant coffee. Now this is not going to make it taste like coffee, but what the coffee does is it really accents the flavor of the chocolate. And I probably didn't add quite a whole teaspoon in there. It gives it a much, much richer flavor. And I'm going to just blend this now and till it is smooth and creamy. I do recommend at least once, if you're using an immersion blender, kind of beat it off like this because you're going to have some of the cheese curds like stuck on top of it, which is going to make your mousse lumpy if you don't. If it happens to be a little bit too runny after you get it all blended up, you can put it in the refrigerator for an hour or so and it'll thicken up. You also might want to put it in the refrigerator for an hour or two before you serve it, just so it's good and cold. If you had physics class in high school, you know stirring stuff increases the temperature of it, and we just really stirred this. And one of the things that makes summer treats good is that summer treats are cold. Serve it in a couple of nice little dessert cups. You can make some fresh whipped cream to go over it. It's a little bit runny, well, a little bit. You could eat it like this. It would be better though chilled, because it's not as thick as it should be, and it definitely isn't super, super cold. Some fresh whipped cream, maybe some strawberries or some raspberries on top of that. And you got a really special dessert that is high in protein. Even with the honey in it, it's much lower in calories and carbs than even a boxed pudding would be, which this is way better than boxed pudding. Now, I know I've given y'all a lot of ideas, more ideas than what we actually used here, but swapping out a few foods that are not so good for a few foods that are good can make a huge difference. And in the summertime, especially the stuff that's considered treats, the frozen stuff, a lot of it has really, really, really bad ingredients in it. And we've done some healthy ice creams, we've done some healthy milkshakes, and I'll link some of those recipes in here if y'all want to see more videos like this with healthy summer desserts and treats. Let me know, because I really think that it's one of those things that as a mom I always needed, and we all need it. I mean, as I get older, I definitely need it, because I like dessert, especially in the summertime, and most of it is so bad I don't feel like I can eat it and not feel bad after I eat it. So fresh fruit, the Greek yogurt, the cottage cheese, that kind of stuff, frozen fruit, it will allow you to still have those flavors, to still have the treat, to still enjoy summer, and not feel like you've been eating bad, because you're not. All this stuff is healthy and all of it's good for you. And if you swap out chips with nuts, with salted nuts or fresh nuts, just swap out your chips for nuts. That's a huge, huge deal, because you get the protein, you get all kind of nutrients in nuts, vitamins and minerals and stuff, magnesium and B vitamins, that you sure are not getting in a potato chip or a corn chip or something. So swap out your chip snacking for nut snacking. And dig out them old popsicle molds and blend up some fresh fruit, do some fruit juice, even freeze something like this mousse that we made, or the banana milkshake. You could just freeze it in a popsicle mold and it would be wonderful. So do some substitutions this summer. Check out our friends at Nourish, because it really will make a difference in how you feel and in your quality of life. Before we leave, I want to leave you with 1 Corinthians 6:19 and 20. What, know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost, which is in you, which ye have of God, and ye are not your own? For ye are bought by a price, therefore glorify God in your body and in your spirit, which is God's. If our bodies truly are the temple for the Holy Ghost, if we believe that, then we should take care of them. Eat the good things that God has given us and nourish our bodies so that we can nourish our souls. Because when you feel bad, it is very, very hard to be the person that God intended you to be. Thank you so much for joining us again in the Hillbilly Kitchen. If you haven't already, please don't forget to click like and subscribe. Leave us your favorite healthy dessert recipe, and if you want some more of these recipes, let us know in the comments. Until next time, remember to put God first.